Hi everyone, I'm Veronica Bartolini with Codebreaker Real Talk, Unchained Hearts, Unchaining Hearts, and Breaking the Code, a new one. I'm here with the First Lady Erika, and I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about her Egyptian trip, and then my neighbor let me, what's his name?
Ramses the third, right?
Yes, Ramesses the Third. Here we go, Miss Lady Erika. How are you? Thank you for being on.
I'm excellent. I love your setup.
Thank
I'm a
you.
little bit jealous because
Oh,
like you're so prepared.
I'm not.
It
But
looks like it.
thank you. They were giving away some, they said last week at the office, they said, who do you want to send a rose to? And so my friend, my neighbor, the one that let me, Lola, now she wants love. She does this all the time. Um,
I
what?
used to have a German Shepherd like that.
So she sent me one and I sent her one. So she's
That's nice.
what are you begging me? What are you doing? What are you doing, Mom? It's okay.
Gosh, now I feel like a loser. I need somebody to send me some flowers.
Girl, if it wasn't for my neighbor, I would have sent myself.
I know, but my neighbor didn't send me flowers. Still.
He was like,
Oh, I was just telling somebody in 7-Eleven, like, I remember being in high school and I bought my own carnations. Like,
me too. I
but
love
we
the
do it. We buy our own roses, right? And we love upon ourselves.
yes, we do. So, can you show your picture real quick? I thought you painted it. That one.
Oh my God. Look at it. It still has the little stuff on it.
I
This is
love
from
it.
Ross. Everybody sees me and they're like, hey, did you paint that? It still has the price tag up in the top corner. I'm
Beautiful.
horrible. I just was like, oh, this looks so good. You know how you test it to see what it looks like, but then you never you never
Yeah,
go back.
I
Kind of
was
like, oh,
those colors. I don't know about this echo. Sorry, guys. But those colors, I was telling you earlier before we started that I see the bioluminescence of what we are, like the stars that fall. We were talking about.
yeah,
The essence, our essence is like that. All those colors combined. And I was
yeah,
sharing with you, and the other day I also told them on a video that how I see the first human race, even though there was many different labs, supposedly they're saying that they were making a human. I see myself and most of us come from the first race, which is the melanin dominant race. And there's a reason why they enslaved our bloodline. You know why? Because we started remembering that we were stars, that we were more than gods and more than angels, that we were it, pretty much. And I saw also in I was asking myself, what is Earth really? Who made the Earth? Who did? And so I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? It was us. It was us in human form that they enslaved us, and we helped them make the trees, put align the moon with the Earth, with the Saturn and the cubes. We were the one that would say, okay, let's put up the sun now. Let's bring down the sun. Let's put up the moon. And then they erased our memories. It's like a Garden of Eden, but this is actually this is already a new Earth. I don't even know how many times it's existed and exploded again. But I feel that artificial intelligence as a pod, I know it may be out there for some people, but I see like an octopus pod AI wannabe God enslaving the human race, and then saying, oh well, you're the gods of Egypt. Hey, you're gonna wear this, and you're gonna tell the people what to do. And then yes sir, they tell this AI God. And then we'll say, I know it's funny because I don't have monitos, but we'll say, oh, here's a guy, and then he's gonna be a king and a queen because he's saying yes sir to this one, and this one's yes sir to the other one. Then we got the politicians saying yes sir, they're the yes men.
wow.
And then the humans that are us right now, we are in human form. It doesn't mean that we're like this, because when we go to sleep, we're not like this. We don't feel, we don't touch, right? Maybe we sometimes in whether, I don't know, sometimes I can smell things, I can see colors, and Sometimes I hug and I can feel. But what I'm trying to say is, we are the true essence. We are the ones that are here to help save humanity, to help them wake up from all that stuff that we've been fed. You know, like you were saying earlier, we always think of Jesus or Zeus, what I call Zeus here, because you know there's a
right,
as white. Why? It's programming.
I don't think people can see it any differently because it's been said. And you know, when you have all those paintings around, it's hard to get beyond that, to like wrap your mind around what the world looked like. Like, I don't think people can even understand, like, maybe he did have a henna tattoo. Maybe he wore Egyptian clothing, and maybe he had one of those little bracelets with the snake on it because he's an he's Egyptian, right? These people are from the Middle East, and so it's really hard for them to imagine anything else. I know as a part of the trip, one thing I appreciated was actually going to one of this well outside of Bastet's temple and seeing a spot that they have marked as Muslims, that have marked, this is where Jesus drew a circle in the sand and water came up. Because I mean, even I didn't even know that the Quran had Jesus in it so much, right? But I just didn't think that I would go to Egypt and find things about Jesus actually landmarked. And it made me kind of view things differently, because especially too, like, most of us, like, I've been a Jehovah's Witness. I've always just gone from place to place. Like, when my parents quit going to church, I kept going to church because I was like, I want to be in the right place at the right time. I want to be on the good side, you know? And I was just always concerned. So I would go from church to church trying to find out where God was. But then, you know, one thing I never did agree with is how we could say as a Christian, all the Muslims are going to hell and all the Buddhists are going to hell, and all, like, it just seemed really weird to say all these people are going to hell when most of the religions say love one another, right? And the most important thing is to love one another. But there's another side to it too, where, you know, there's like Nation of Islam, 5%ers, Malachi York, people like that say, because Jesus' name is really Yéshua, there was no J, the story's made up, then it's like, oh my gosh, so is there no Jesus at all? Was there more than one virgin birth? Was there more than one? Then let's get the words right, because they're saying immaculate conception and virgin birth. Okay, now you're using the wrong meaning of the word, right? It's the wrong translation, because virgin doesn't mean not having sex. Virgin actually meant independent, right? Like, virgin olive oil means it's not mixed with anything else. That means it's not joined. Immaculate birth or immaculate conception means that there was no fault found. It doesn't mean that God's sperm came into the baby. It meant that these two people who belonged to the secret mystery school came together in a perfect relation, in a perfect union. Doesn't mean that they weren't touched, immaculate, like, you know, they were clean, right? But not in the way that we think is clean. Even when I think about Rachel and Leah and gosh, is it Jacob? When Jacob meets Rachel at the well, people just assume that nothing happened. And I'm thinking, no, I don't think it was like that. I think they saw each other. She was like, I want you to meet my daddy. That they probably did some heavy petting at least, you know, and got a little bit of kissing in at the well. That everything, like, we just assume because it's not written that certain people had sex, that they just assume that he waited around and they didn't have sex this whole time. I'm just thinking that's a lie. I just think there's so much missing from the books that people kind of just assume that they know these things. But the part that I got in a conversation with when I was in Egypt, the fact that Jesus is a person of color, but then I'll get to the other part, but was that So the Egyptian woman said, it doesn't matter what color Jesus is. And I said, yeah, but you live in a country where everybody is a person of color. So of course to you, it won't matter. But I live in a place where people have gone through the trouble. Certain Christians taught that Black people come from being Canaanites and the curse was the color of their skin. So I said to a person like me, that's going to be important, the color of his skin. And because I live in a culture where it's dominantly, of another race, which I'm still trying to understand how this is got the way that this was. So it had led me on a whole path of how do people get to be white? How do people get to be white? Because there's still a way people say, certain Black people will say that they were made in a lab and they're separate, right? They're different. And there's like this group of A negatives that are the newest ETs on the planet. But then some people say, oh, it's a birth defect. Now I'm going to say this though, if blue eyes are the absence of color, there's things missing from that person that would make you say it is somewhat of defect. But the only reason that I even lean towards thinking that was a possibility is because I started to notice too that certain people that I knew that were really, really pale, they have lots of problems with their skin burning, or one lady, she just had even her spine wasn't proper. Like there was just all these different things in certain people that I noticed that they were being possibly considered a defect. But then, I was asking all around because I asked like Elena Dana and I asked Alex Collier, and finally a lady named Karen and Alex Collier, they sent me this information where he'd given a seminar before talking about the certain minerals that were in the earth, copper and something else. I can't remember what the other mineral was, that people were a different color because of the minerals that were in the earth, but because of one of the cataclysms, and it was like a nuclear type situation where now the soil is depleted of that, so it's not inside our food, that certain people change color because they didn't have those certain minerals in their body, and that's what made people like greenish, grayish, or white.
Well, you know what? About that. You know how they want to bleach our flour and bleach the rice? It's because I always say that I have the melanin dominant race in me. Because this is so weird. My mom is really dark and her brother was Black in color. And my grandmother, her dad was French Black. On my grandfather's side, which is her mother's side, her side, her dad, which is my grandfather, his great grandmother, which is my great great grandmother, she's Black from Dominican Republic. So when I was born, my mom to this day, she says, I can't believe you were mine. People were asking me in the streets, that güerita is white, because I was born with blonde hair and then it turned red. I was always looked upon as, because I'm really tall too, and oh, Vero, the white girl, she's so white. And so then we moved from Mexico to here, and the programming that I received was white. They had me in academic decathlon. They gave me so many scholarships. I played the violin since I was 4th grade. They had me like if I was a wonder kid, like why are they, you know what I mean? But at the same time, they put me in special classes because my Spanish was first and I could not get it right. In 7th grade, in 9th grade, sorry, they said I had a 7th grade reading level. And I'm like, F these people, I'm gonna prove them wrong. So when I was in junior year, I got my academic, AP classes. I've been to Washington, DC, all this stuff just to prove them wrong. But the thing of it is I'm O negative, and my mom's O negative, my dad's O negative, my father's O negative. So.
Oh, you guys are really special, huh?
O negative.
Ooh.
Now O negative.
Universal donor
and we have more lung capacity. When say we get cut, the air hits it and it turns copper. Why? Because we are from the melanin dominant. But these freaking Anunnaki want to be gods. Draco, the Alpha Draco came in and tried to inject their blood in us. Fuck these guys. Excuse my language.
But see, there's even some more to that because you're from the Dominican Republic, and I don't know, the other side of the island is Haiti, right? So during Napoleon's time, do you know what he did during that time? You could take, because the burden is we have to lighten up the planet. You can take a white wife, a black wife, and a mulatto wife to help. We got to lighten things back up. So, of course, people will want to be on the more privileged sides because this is the bias. Even this is something a lot of people don't know about too. Is you could go back to Benjamin Franklin wrote a paper called "The Stupid Swarthy Germans." Have you ever heard of that? So in the 1600s, he wrote a paper about the stupid, swarthy Germans. And he said, all the world is dark and swarthy. And he uses swarthy, tawny. So there's the yellow people, there's the tan people, and there's the black people. And he called the Germans black, and the French. He called the Spaniards. He even said Sweden and the Netherlands as people of color. This is what he was saying. So and I was like, well, how the hell did Sweden like, how did it get like this? And you think, well, there had to be some mass migration and some mass killing and, all this War of the Roses and things going on. But he said, all the world is dark and swarthy except for these small group of people called the Saxons. And he said, don't bring the Germans over here, not even as slaves, because they will not adapt to our culture. And they won't speak our language. They won't adapt to our culture. And over here, we already have the red man. So and then he said, in the eyes of the inhabitants of Mars and Venus. So he starts talking about aliens. And he says, we have a chance to make this side of the world great and white on this side of the planet. Don't bring any of these other peoples over here. So he says, he just named this handful of people. The Saxons was the only white people that he said on the planet. So I said, so Alex, how did everybody get white? how did all the people get white? And so he explained the thing about, the food and the soil and the radiation and the depletion changing the color of people on the planet. So that's my only explanation, because I'm like, how do you turn all of Europe white? But then you can still go find those statues where it shows, the Virgin in black opal. And so they go and they'll cover those statues with gold. So you've gotten rid of all the opal. I didn't even know when I was in Germany that they had those places with the little black face and the sign. Like back then, I wasn't paying attention to any of that stuff. And I wish when I was over there, I paid more attention. But that's why that little trip was important, because I didn't really know, well, who all believed in Jesus, because a lot of people of color, and I won't say all, people that aren't really Christians, they'll say that he wasn't even a real person, that he didn't exist, because that story doesn't just belong there. And I've met people who've been to Egypt before, and they said there's more than one virgin birth. So then now we find out about the Essenes. And so, yeah, that's what they used to do, right? That's a part of the practice.
You talking right now, it's confirmation what I've been saying about, who Jesus is? You're looking at her. We are Jesus. Okay.
Examples. And yeah, it wasn't that he's necessarily supposed to be your savior. He's an example of a guy. But I'll tell you something else weird I read somewhere. I gotta see where I read this at. That people didn't like him because he was coming to tell us the secret about our freedom, that we have the ability and the powers to do such things, right? But because of that, we had like a free pass for your ignorance. Because if nobody showed you what the truth was, if nobody showed you what the light was, then you got a pass. I can have mercy on your soul, right? But once you've been told the truth and you ignore it, now you become accountable for knowing that truth, but that he himself would be punished for that burden of enlightenment, that he himself would be punished. Not punished, and maybe you could say it's the crucifixion, but it was like, it was as if, like you're saying, if the Anunnaki are in charge, and say he was maybe an Anunnaki. I don't know what this scenario was, but that he brought a burden upon himself for enlightening people, that he wasn't really supposed to do it in this. But I would have to go back to see where I read this, and I said, oh wow, are they saying that he's going to get in trouble? I know where I can find it. I can find it, but
It's like, okay, so the Anunnaki are supposedly that were placed here to patrol, and then above them is the Aldebaran. So we have the Aldebaran and the white Alpha Draconis and fight with each other. This is the war that, so if you're talking about secret space program, super soldier, they all want you to get into a side. If you're talking about, Biden, Trump, they all want you to choose a side.
And that's the funny part.
We don't belong here, and we're not fighting their war. Okay, so the punishment that you're talking about, you know what a punishment is? What they do to people like us. We tell the people what's going on YouTube. We tell people in our family what's going on. And what's the punishment? You're either made fun of, blocked, or your family members don't even want to invite you anywhere because all you're going to talk about is, I'm not from here. You're not from here. I'm not going to worship your Jesus and their Jesus, and it's actually Zeus that they worship. Now, I do feel like, I know that there's some writings with Ashiana Dean about that there was a Yéshua 12. He had all the 12 bloodlines, the 12 DNA strands. That's us. That's where we come from, the Cristo, Yéshua 12. Then there's a Yéshua 9 that married Mary Magdalene. And then there's a regular Jesus that they killed off, and it wasn't even Jesus. They just gave him the vision, supposedly. Okay. A lot of people they say, oh, well, we don't know if that's true or not, but that opened my eyes, because I know, like I was telling you about the light coming out of my chest and me asking if there is some kind of, are you there? See how it says,
girl, that was very, because I wouldn't have, and I love that thing, the stupid swarthy Germans. I really hope people look that up, because listen to what I was like, oh, how did the planet get like this? Tell me. And I was on a nonstop search, and I was harassing people. I'm telling you, certain people was like, if this don't get out my face, because I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to understand why this says this. So even in our government, right? There's like all these people who are politicians and movie stars, and you're calling them white, but those people aren't white. Those people are really pale colored Jewish people.
That's the movement right there. You just said it.
Yeah, they're not what you think they are. And then I still think there's a lot of people who are of mixed culture, because people mix and they move, and they mix and they move. But I'm not going to tell you that, if your grandma is not going to tell you, she's hiding a secret. But anyway, then there's that. But then there's some people, and I'm telling people, like, if you can tan, then you have melanin. If you can tan, people who are white, and they like burn in the sun. So to me, the only people that I thought were white on this planet are people like Queen Elizabeth and Harry, and those people, the ones that can't take the sun. People like Bill G, who wants to block out the sun. They don't like the sun. So people who don't like the sun, those are what I consider the people who are white.
You know why? Because that's why they're blocking out the sun, because they want it to be cold. They want it to be,
because lizards like the cold, right? Lizards don't mind the cold.
They can only live in the cold. They can only live in the cold. Why do you think they're chemtrailing? Why do you think the baby Jabberwocky, this thing that people are getting, it's to get rid of the melanin dominant race.
And then some people are thinking because you're not necessarily brown that you don't have melanin, but there's still melanin. Because then, this becomes a thing with Black people saying that they're not melanated, and the carbon and this. there's what, 22 races of people on this planet. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily Black, white. The races that we have, it would be the mixture of the blood types and mixture of DNA. Like there's just all kinds of really complicated things going on, but people are still, wanting to be spiritual, but then separated racially. And it's just really weird and it's really uncomfortable. But the thing I was going to say about that is that crapola, they don't understand that people have melanin in their brain tissue. Like I've literally read books that were written by people that said white people can't have powers or psychic powers or magic powers or healing powers because they don't have melanin. Yep. But they're thinking the melanin only in the skin, but there's melanin in the brain tissue.
You're right.
So there's these weird ways that people are choosing to like try to divide. And I try to avoid, I swear to God, I just try to avoid all talk of that. Like I know we still have a problem all over this planet. There is actual people that hate each other because of the color of their skin. I just try to stay away from it and not focus on it because it's just, I don't know, if I sat here and focus on all the things, all the bad things, I would just be so depressed. It makes me feel hopeless, all the ways that people mistreat each other. But I also tell people too, like you think because someone is racist, right? And they like a person that has the ability to hang a Black person or another person of color, that person's not just racist. They're abominable. They're more than that. That person molests their little sister. They steal from their grandmother. They bully other people of their own race. It's just not isolated at them hating Black people.
Yes, and I'm glad
Those are abominable people who literally go around and destroy every goddamn thing. They look like, the KKK Christian person, but no, it doesn't work like that because you don't go around hanging people and dragging people and chasing people down and doing all these nasty things without being just a nasty individual. I know even when it comes to people with their sexual preferences, because the people that are gay or transgender, they'll be feeling like they have specialized suffering. And I'll say, don't you understand that the person that harassed you and abused you because of your gender or your identification, don't you know that person is still the same person that'll molest a little kid? That person will still rob a grocery store. That person will still murder somebody. So it's not that you have a patent on suffering because this person did this to you and your classification. That person really is destructive to everyone on this planet. It's not specialized. Your suffering is not specialized. And I mean, it's really weird for somebody to say their plight as a person based on their gender and their identification could be worse than kids getting molested. Like, don't you know there's still other people suffering? Even if you say for Black people, the racism, well, we weren't the only people that were slaves, right? Like, there's still people slaves right now. You can go to like Middle Eastern, Asian countries, there's slavery going on right now. There's human trafficking going on right now. There's still people suffering. But I think what they want to do with us in America and the rest of the world is keep us in the mindset of keeping people fighting about their skin color and not focusing on the real slavery that's going on. Is I said, when you really realize you're not free, when you have to get your passport and it puts on there, basically that P on there means that you're poor, and that the country wants to keep an eye on their slaves as they move from country to country, because you only got 30 days. You got to bring your little slave ass back. You know what I mean? Because think about the kind of shit that you got to do. Like when I went to Egypt, it was like, okay, it was just like, I felt so infringed upon. My things are being dug through, and they're blaming it on, terrorism. But did they just create a terrorist situation so that they could allow us to justification for these types of invasions of privacy, because I get real freaked out. I don't like people touching me. I don't like people digging up in my clothes and touching on my boobs. A lady sticking her hand up my legs. And I felt, if you wanted to feel not free, take a fucking international flight and you'll know how unfree you are.
Hello, hello. Do you hear that?
Yeah. Or I could easily take my passport and go, right? And I can get a little visa. But for a person over there, it's not even easy. Like for me, when I did, it was even harder for them to ship a package. A man had a 23-kilogram package that he wanted to ship to me. For him, they were going to charge him $600 customs fees. I sent Terry something to Canada, a 3-pound box. I paid the shipping. They were going to charge her $100 to pick it up. And now you realize, no, you're not free at all. When you see, birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, who your mama is, who your daddy is, and then this motherfucker at the airport going to ask me, what was the reason for your trip? I don't know. I've been through a lot since y'all just fingered me all through the airport. And I'm like a little bit stressed. So I can't even remember what the trip was about. And why are you asking me stupid questions at the airport? I don't know. I get real cringy, even though I'll do it again. But
I took a flight, 2 flights or 3. What was it? From Tucson to Philadelphia to Italia, Italy. And at that time, I was engaged to someone that was dark. And here in Tucson, when we went to the Tucson International Airport, first thing they did, they let me pass. And then they made him open up his briefcase, all kinds of shit. And I'm like,
right. They don't care if your souvenirs are wrapped up. They unwrap it, cut it open, wrap it up, rip it apart. Here go my drawers. Here's everything on the floor. I was like, oh my God, what are y'all doing? Yeah, you're like nothing.
Yeah. Look at this is my great grandmother, Dionysus Diarino La Coronela. They used to call her La Coronela because she was about fighting for the justices of people of indigenous people in Dominican Republic. And then she came over to Baja California, and that's how she met my great-great-grandfather Villarino. He was from Spain. He had white hair, blue eyes, and married this lady. And then they had 10 girls, all of them. You could see their picture. My mom has some pictures with the crisscross of all the bullets. They were guerreras. They were warriors.
Wow.
They lived in La Paz, Baja California. So it's like it goes deeper than the color. You know.
Yeah, it does. Even the fact, okay, so you got Ramses up there.
Yeah.
This was the thing about going to Egypt. One man said, I want to be remembered forever. And people, you're still digging up stuff that this man said, hey, I want this right here, this right here. I mean, like 18 temples. And how does one man put his foot down and say, woo, everywhere, put up me, my wife, and then I need this over here for that. And I was just like freaked out in a way, but amazed. But it's like in awe.
Hey, do you have any pictures you want to show?
I'll show you some pictures, but I'm gonna tell you this. I actually had got tired of taking the pictures because I was like, what the hell? Honestly, because when it'll be like if every inch of your house you had symbols and notifications, you're like, how did they do this? How did they do this? Okay, so anyway, it's gonna be me. These are me and my corny friends. And so we start to trip out. And I'm telling you, when I was sitting at the table, there's 2 more ladies that are there, but one of them was upstairs. And I swear to God, the lady was sitting next to me and she was not. So there was like a lady sitting next to me that was not there. And then my friend came downstairs and I said, I thought you were sitting next to me this whole time. And she said, no, I'm just coming downstairs. So I was like, okay, so we got something going on at the hotel. All right, fine. we're gonna let you have that. Okay, so how do I gotta make it go.
High technology. I don't know, maybe
girl. Okay, so if I just push the button, how do I push the button?
Exiting out right there. The X.
No, it's not that. Okay, so I'm in Zoom. Zoom is over here, and I'm over there, and this is over here. Oh, so I'm here. Girl, we're gonna figure this out today, aren't we?
As long as you don't leave.
Okay, this is right here. Then why won't it go? I want to go to the next picture.
To the right or to the left.
I hit a little button. Maybe I didn't open all of them.
Do you want me to try?
No, I think what happened was I hit the download button, but I didn't open all of them. So now let me hit share screen from this aspect, or I know what to do. I'm gonna stop being crazy, y'all. I'm gonna stop being crazy. Let's go to this screen. Let's just do it that way. Can you see anything? Oh, that, there. Okay, so I'll just go from this screen. I gotta go from this screen. You know, there's all these little buttons that are in the...
Go on your far right, left, and then go to the bottom, the gray thing. You'll see all those, or you can click on each picture right there on the bottom. You see it?
Oh, you know why? Because
right here.
Because the controls are back there, so I can't see. Okay, so don't highlight. What we want to do is just go. All right, so here it is. I was out in Giza. The interesting thing about going to Giza and looking at these pyramids is, do you know what limestone is? Limestone is sediment.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you think about diatomaceous earth, that's sediment. What is sediment? Sediment comes from the ocean. So when I'm looking at the ground and I'm looking at the actual pyramids, I'm not really understanding why the sun is shining like this. It's so beautiful, but it's like curved. All my pictures, the sun beamed curved, and it was beautiful. So we saw the red, black, and white pyramids. This is shaped like this on purpose. It's not an accident. It's shaped like the Orion star system. That's what it was told.
It's pointing to the Orion, and they're controlling this. You know, it's concave Earth. That's why everything's like warped.
So what does this look like to you, Veronica? Does that not look like a fossil? It looks like a fossil, right?
Yeah.
These aren't just regular rocks.
It's a fish. It's a fishy. Look at the tail. Look at the there.
So this is what they call sediment. This one even had an E on it. Look at that. I was like freaked out because I was like, I can't take every rock off the ground. Holy cow. But I'm noticing as I was messing with, and looking at the pyramid, it was actually made out of sediment. How do I know? Because it had diatoms. And diatoms were those little round one-celled things with the hairy legs around the side or the cilia on the side. And so I'm like, these rocks or these stones are coming out of the ocean. These rocks on the ground are from the ocean, and the pyramid rock is sediment, limestone. You're not realizing it when you say limestone.
Don't we come from the ocean?
This means that they had to dig this out of the ocean. Like, this is ocean stones that we're looking at. Well, how are we here in the desert and this is happening? I'm sorry, y'all. I got to make this bigger, right? Can I select all? I don't know. Oh, I know exactly what to do. Okay, so here we go. I'll do this. Ooh. So I'll do that. Maybe that'll be a little bit better. So we're going up to the pyramid. I've already looked around at the rocks and seen all this. And I'm going to tell you this, how I feel about this. Oh, God. This is me looking up backwards. So go backwards, that's up. Ooh. but I'm turned around. You cannot walk.
Girl, look
Like,
at that. You can see your upside down masculine pyramid. It looks like a V, dude. What if
but
you're
I'm gonna tell you something. You're going down this thing, and it's like a 45-degree angle. Those little slats of wood are what you're walking on. It was like really warm in there. It was really warm. And it was like you had to hold on to the sides, and then you had to walk down backwards. So you had to walk down backwards inside the pyramid, right? And what did I want to say about that? I just knew, like, I started to feel like this isn't what they're saying this is. And they're constantly still digging up stuff. So when you're looking at the pyramid on the bottom like this, you're not seeing even the whole pyramid. Because if they keep digging, it's going down further and further. Some people say it's shaped like a Merkaba, that there's another triangle pointing downward underneath it. And I was always told that these are meant to charge, right? That there's water underneath them. But, you know, I asked my tour guide, just, oh, there's no water. So depending on your tour guide, they're going to tell you something, whatever they know.
You know what? I think looking at this picture right now, I may be crazy, but it seems like Egypt is in the moon. Because I had a dream the other day that I was on a ladder looking up, and it was all desert around me, looking up at a concave thing. It looked just like that. I'm like, what if Egypt is in the moon, dude? Because
here is the story. If a man goes to 18 different cities and he does this, and let's just, you know, as we move forward, I'm going to just put this out here. I said, they had a mold or a laser printer to do this? Because you're not telling me that somebody chiseled this and carried these and did all this. This is a fucking lie. I just became very irritated because I was like, this is bullshit. There's no way but you put it in all these places, and everywhere you went, you had all this decoration and these uniform figures with uniform sizes. And yes, man, it's great. But if he did this here, what other planet did he do it on?
exactly. You know
Because
what?
it's not just here that they did this.
Yes. You know that movie, Power Lady told me to watch Ultraviolet, and I'm almost done watching it, the whole thing. Well, there's a scene where she gets, you know, her phone and she's talking to someone and says, 3D me. And then the guy shows up there. It's like these, you know, and then Star Trek 2, when that guy says, hey, give me some Earl Grey tea or whatever. There it is. They're just
So
printers.
look at this. So this is like saying I had a building with some drywall, but I put the spackle on top and I shaped it. It's like, what if I had a mold where it was already laid flat, like a cake mold, and then I'm like, okay, now I can slap this piece on there, and I'm just not seeing how it was chiseled. But see, this is like facing or something, right? It's just, I just don't feel like somebody just chiseled this out of just straight up rock.
Nah, you're right. It's kind of like they had to patch a hole in the wall. They put some chicken stuff on there, the fencing or whatever they call it, the little chicken thing, slapped it on there, and then they're gonna just like, let's draw some little men here.
Right, like some type of, look how the concave the sun was. So we were in belt. How do you say it? Let's say it. Tell Bastet. They spell it differently. So you'll know that the way that they spell everything is going to be like different. And so this is where Bastet Temple is. And this is the Queen Maritimum. So she's there. So whatever the deity, they have the gods there, but then they'll have the royal families there, right? And so all these stones.
You know what's weird is that they say tell basta, right? Basta in Spanish means stop. Like that's enough. I've had enough.
Oh my goodness.
And then they're over here saying tell basta. So they're, you know, the right hand path, the left hand path, they're like opposite. Tell and then basta. Tell basta.
And stop.
You know, tell.
Kind of weird. That's interesting, Veronica, because I didn't even know that. So when you're looking out here, this is the sign, and it's telling you that you're at the Bastet Temple. It's been knocked down by an earthquake or something. These are all being classified, all these little stones being classified and numbered and labeled, and yikes, let me go back. And so they're just pieces, it's just too stunning, and it's just too weird, and it's just too, you just couldn't believe it. You were just sitting next to all this stuff. I mean, I went inside in the museum and they're showing you the small artifacts. But then I found this next to the well. I didn't put the well in here, which is crazy because to me, this is like the little Mary Magdalene. And it was next to the well.
You know that the Mary Magdalene, that reminds me of the mamushkas, the ones that come, the little one, and the little baby and the little baby.
Oh, yeah, the nestling dolls. The nestling dolls. But I can even see the little face, like the scarf in the face. Girl, I had to get that rock. And don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody, y'all. Oh, this was the Karnak Temple. So it was ridiculous. This is where Sekhmet statue was. And so we went to a private viewing over there to see Sekhmet statue. They got the rams all outside. And instead of this one being limestone, this is different because a portion of this is good night. How come I can't say it? Oh man, I can't say the word.
Say, let me have my channel back.
Let me have my channel back.
Her channel back now. Let her have her channel back now. I command Erika have her channel back now. Fuckers. Okay, you'll get it right
now. God is frustrating me because it's a word that begins with an A, I think. And we went to a store, alabaster. There you go. So this giant pieces of alabaster. So giant alabaster there. And they dig up alabaster all behind here by Karnak and the Valley of the Kings. But just look at this. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Like just let's see, maybe a 40-foot column. And every inch of it is perfect designed, Some of it is destroyed, but it was so huge. You couldn't even take enough pictures of it. And so this is, one of the royal family, and they show how the left foot is up front to show they're the leader of the military type thing. And
right now that you showed the left foot, and you know how I was in the military, right? So in the military, they teach you that you gotta do left, your left,
right.
Okay. Well, when I was a kid, my mom would always say your right foot first, mijita. And in the military, it's your left. So everything is opposite. They try and teach you everything opposite.
Interesting that you said that. Because you want to get on your good foot, the right foot, right? You want to start out right.
The right foot is where it's, I'll just say the angelic side, okay, where you can get it's the oído, the perfect hearing, okay? And the left side, when I was a police, they say wear your ear thing on the left that's connected to your radio. So this is your left hemisphere and your right. So they say that the right is the creative side, right?
Right.
In the military, they cut the men's hairs. That way their antennas can't reach out to their own inner self, or the ethers telling them what's up, right? They cut their hair because they have to be obedient. And then they tell us to start with our left foot. That way you're stupid. And they can control.
Yeah. Well, even further, Veronica, you know what they used to do when you capture people and you make them your slaves? The same thing. They like for slaves to have bangs that cover their forehead, but then they like to cut your hair. They do things with your hair to change the way you think. Definitely covering your forehead so that you block your third eye. So bangs, but also cutting your antenna, like you say. With these things, so I'll show you these pyramids and stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, when we went inside that pyramid, I kind of felt like, what are we looking at? And where's the real part, the part that you're not showing me? Because you're not gonna go see the real parts if you're going with a regular guide. Unless you're working with an actual architect, or unless you find some guards that will really take you to show you what you really should be looking at. The rest of it is really a distraction. And that's, I was really to the point where I was like, why are we in this room, in some of the rooms, you know? But when we went to Karnak, I really, what was this, Karnak temple? Yeah, this was, and we got to see Sekhmet, and we got to see the sycamore tree, like in the Bible, and we got sycamore fruit and stuff like that. And then this is when we went to the Valley of the Kings, which this part is really cool. Let me see if I can open this up into. I wanted you to see this because this when oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh, is this how I can do it? I can do it like this? Do it. No. This is mind blowing because that's when I start to see the orbs.
Oh, that's right. Let me see if I can find it on my phone because I know Power Lady sent it to me.
There you go.
Oh, is that the one? Oh, look at that. Did anybody see them or just you?
You could only see them if you had it on video.
Oh, wow.
So when it's on video, you can see it. When you're standing there, you don't see a thing. It just looks like you're just looking. All this cloudiness, you only see it with the camera.
Oh, there's a face there too.
There's a lot going on. But see, these were tombs. And I guess some temples, you might see some orbs. But the tombs is where you will go to see the orbs. Because that's where the spirits are buried, right? That's where there's the burial.
Well, I think they're still there because those orbs are there. They're like kind of like the watchers of those, part of their DNA, like they're watching over these tombs, like don't mess with it. Like this is a sacred area.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary because that means, yeah, don't conduct yourself properly. That's what I felt like. Conduct yourself properly because, yeah, it is being guarded, not just by a bunch of men with guns, but by the spirits. And so when I go to these places, you know, I think a lot of people want to dig up something and become famous or have something magical happen. But I only want what belongs to me because we've been there before, right? And there's energy there that we leave behind, things that belong to me. So when I was there, I was pretty much determined, give me the energy that belongs to me and leave behind the rest. Now, if anybody, I had friends, certain, you know, people where they supported me, I asked for the energy to be released and use myself as a conduit to send them the energy that belongs to them. But only what belongs to us and nothing.
You froze. Internet connection unstable. Okay, hopefully we'll come back in a minute or so, second or so. This lady Erika. Yay, we're back. I was like, we're reconnecting. I was singing the reconnecting song to Lola.
No problem. So I think what I said, we said, conduct yourself properly.
I got goosebumps, girl. When you said that, it was like confirmation.
We were very careful to not bring back any energy that did not belong to us. I know I was, yeah, for the most part. I mean, I could see some behavior changes in a certain person, but you know, they have to deal with that themselves. But for me, I only want what belongs to me.
Was it anger or
Anger. And so I was also told too, when you go to like the female temples, like when you go to Sekhmet and see Sekhmet, and when you go see Hathor and Isis, you'll notice that the men in that area are different too. This man is letting me drive, y'all. I mean, for some reason, people was loving me. They was like loving up on me and letting me drive and giving me free stuff.
You know why, Miss First Lady Erika, is because look, when we are of a pure heart, when we are clear in our mind, when we love ourselves and we are not jealous of others, we know who the fuck we are, right? People
Right.
like that. Okay.
I was really welcomed. I was really, really welcome. I'm not gonna lie. I saw so many people. I saw the chef look like my cousin. I mean, my brother, and my brother is a chef. And I was like, oh my God. I sent my sister a picture. The chef looks like our brother.
Like he's over there too, like another life.
Yeah. Another guy, he looked like my grandmother when we were side by side. We were looking at our noses and our cheeks.
Oh.
And I was like, my God, he looks like my grandma. And it was just so, one guy, he looked like my niece. And I was like putting pictures side by side. One guy, his mom, he sent me a picture of his mom. And I put my sister's picture next to his mom picture. Him and his mom both had his mom and my sister both had the same facial expression. Like with the lip to the side and the little smirk, they had the same shaped lip. I was just like, oh my God, this is so, it felt really cool.
It's like your home.
Really cool to be in a place where people were like receiving me and inviting me back. Whoa. Is someone calling me? Oh my God, my phone is ringing on here. What it is, something's ringing.
Not here. Not.
That was so weird. How did I was ringing as if it was ringing, but my phone's not ringing?
That's confirmation that we live. We have more than what they call it here, doppelganging, but it's twins and triplets. We have one or more of us out there living in another.
You know where mine is? She's in Atlanta and she works in a strip club. I'm swear to God, this girl. All the time, people are talking about they see me. I'm like, I was not in Atlanta last weekend. And I do not strip. I was kidding.
Girl, I'm not gonna tell you my stripper name, girl. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh man. So I'll go through some more of the I'll go through some more of the pictures. But that man, he was letting me drive. It was so funny. I was like, dang, I'm like awesome. Oh gosh. So and these kids too, like, so there was a little blonde girl with us, and she was so tiny and so blonde, and they would grab her and be like, take a picture with me. And then like all these kids will be like throwing you around, like taking pictures with you and like wanting to take pictures with you. And these guys, they were so freaking cute. I was like, oh my God, I saw all the kids there and I just like thought they were so freaking adorable. But they were like, snatch me. I thought it was because I had blue hair. So see, this is not Karnak. Let me see where this is.
I love your blue hair.
Thank you. Evidently they did too, but I'll be in the grocery store and I'm like, why are people looking at me? Oh shit, I forgot I got blue hair. So anyway, like at this temple, this is Hatshepsut's temple. So in some of the statues, they make her look like a man and sometimes it looks like a woman. It has a lot of Hathor like a protector in the columns surrounding and stuff.
I had to send that picture of Hatshepsut to Power Lady because, wow, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but anyway, we'll talk about it later. But she's very close to Hatshepsut. We'll just say that.
Yeah. So see, they're still digging. So just imagine maybe 20 more feet down, that's where the ground should be. So I'm trying to understand, was it one of the floods that made it like this? Because I even saw like a prison building that it was watermarks on the side. Even Isis temple is still, they had to move the temple because of the water, but they're still digging and finding and digging and finding as if this would have been like, where did all the sand come from to settle right there to cover everything up? Like it's still, the part that you're seeing is just barely being exposed.
That right there, it just reminds me of the world that is upside down. It's like, what if the water?
I don't know, because then that would be like an Atlantis type situation, right? Where the whole thing was covered with water. And this, when I went to see this. This is what makes me feel like the pyramids were under the water. Was that just normal for us to be under the water?
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah, these are the markings of the Christians.
It's
The
like, why
Christian,
do we have to have certain amount of water in this biological body?
right? Christians. So the Egyptian Christians, y'all have to forgive me because, the Coptics, that's what they're called. The Coptics, so they went around and marked everything up. And so you'll see like these little cross-like figures and they'll leave their little signature, but the Coptics will be the ones who are busting up the faces of Hathor. Evidently, they were really intimidated by the energy of Hathor. And so that's it, Hatshepsut. And they would go and try to destroy all her faces. So most of the faces that are destroyed are really the Hathor faces because she's the guardian of those places. And so this is the Wasjed. Is it Was? Okay, so the Ankh and the Was. No Jed right there, but the Was and the Ankh. That staff of power that you see most of the gods carrying. This door where we're at, gosh, that's the Mamizi. So there was like a birthing room that we were in. And so I caught the door of the Mamizi. And they're like these little side chapels that evidently the queen would go to have the baby in these special places. Let me move forward. Wow.
Did they mention anything about the quarters there of having babies in water? Did they have their births in water? Did they mention anything like that yet?
She did not mention having babies in water. They did mention the squatting.
Yeah.
I saw the thing where you would have to squat in a certain position and give birth.
Yeah.
When you go to Hathor's temple out in Dendara, they thoroughly discuss fertility and how they used sound healing to clean the womb out if the woman was infertile, how they did the pregnancy test by urinating on the wheat, and if the ants came, then they knew that because of the sugar presence that the woman was pregnant. And then they do show you some things on the walls, and they try to relate that to sperm, but it's not about sperm at all. It's like several things are being merged, and I guess it's meant to confuse you, but it's not accurate at all because you look at it and these are giant light bulbs, and this is a Tesla tower, and this is, so there's just confusion.
That actually reminds me, that's a beautiful picture. That actually reminds me of when there's this guy that talks about with David Icke. He's an older gentleman. He's also melanin dominant, of the Chikara or where they had in back in the day, they would have these temples where the being would go in, and the beings were male and female, and they would go into these things that you just mentioned, and they would come out. Some would be coming out female, some would be coming out male. So they would slice the human into masculine.
See, now that's like the story of Sophia, right? So Sophia created the planet by separating herself from the masculine and feminine and giving birth to the earth. And that's the story of Sophia, right? And so that would be what most people call Mother, Father, God, Sophia. But with these gods, when it comes to Hatshepsut, she's male and female, and a lot of these deities, they will show you male and female.
That's the secret, okay? The whole secret of Mary Magdalene and our bloodline of O negative, or if you are a negative carrier, O negative carrier,
RH negatives, right?
is that we are both male and feminine. And the whole secret of Mary Magdalene was that she was male and female. She didn't need no Jesus to have the baby. we can have our own kids supposedly without a male, because we're both X and Y, we're both male and female. So why is it
Right. And so that would be what the Essenes practice, right? With the Essenes.
so they hid Mary Magdalene, our bloodline, the rose, right? They hid her in convents, they hid her in different places because they didn't want people. I mean, even today, some people are gonna watch our show and say, "What? You're gonna have to study this." Seriously, I mean,
There's so many different
there's a reason why.
parts of the story going on, because even the thing with Jesus, like Jesus dying on the cross, when they handed him that vinegar, that was like a way for him to go to sleep. So another part of the story that people are talking about in certain books, where he went to sleep and he could stop himself from breathing so that he can appear dead,
Yes.
put in the tomb, and then be taken away from that spot. Like, why else would his clothing be there and his dead body is not? Because if his ghost is supposed to go up or his spirit is supposed to go up, why doesn't his body remain there? Because no, he literally was gone. The man was a part of more than one, even some people said 33 mystery schools, like that he was a part of all. He knows who Green Tara is. Like, when I understood, like, oh, wait a minute, who is it, the Asian female, not, what's her name, she of 1,000 hands, always helping people.
Girl, my favorite, Goddess Kali. I have a tapestry in my bed.
Oh yeah, like he would have studied about Kali. He would have studied about
I love
all
God.
the other aspects and gods and goddesses that we would have learned about.
Yeah. They said
Kuan
he went to the
Yin.
Middle East.
Kuan Yin was before
Yeah.
Jesus. Like, I had to, oh my God, Kuan Yin was before Jesus. So Jesus went and studied that mystery school as well. That he went all over, that he was in Asia, that he went all these places. He didn't just stay in the Middle East or Africa, that he traveled and learned all these different things. And so this trip, I did get to learn a lot about those type of things. But yeah, you came about this with the male and female, man.
I listened to a teaching where Yéshua, he actually went to the Middle East to study how to make himself like go to sleep, like barely breathing. And the thing that happens with me with this bloodline, when I go to the hospital, they're always trying to wake me up when I'm just there, just you're
And
not
your
breathing.
blood,
You're
your
not
your
breathing. You're not breathing. I'm like,
your
I'm breathing.
pulse is lower than other people's
Yes,
pulse,
yes,
and your blood pressure is lower. There's
yeah.
certain people that are, of different, yeah.
It's just really interesting. And they even said just last week they called me, you need to have another sleep test. I'm like, no, I don't. I've already had a CPAP, which I threw away 4 years ago because no, I'm fine. I don't need, oh well, you wait, you stop breathing in the middle of the night. Bitch, that's because I'm gone. I'm gone good in the astral.
Mm.
And then the whole thing going back to Jesus about, why did they put him with the white robe? Look at the when I used to watch with my son, I don't remember when it was Joseph's story. It was a cartoon that my son and I used to watch all the time. And when Joseph was giving that multicolored, the rainbow coat,
Oh yeah,
I think Jesus
just
wore that. I don't think he just wore white.
it's really weird. But see,
But
that would be like a Roman toga type thing.
the
Like,
tribes,
maybe when
all
he was
tribes,
dying, maybe when he was carted off about to die, that they would have put the Roman white thing on him. And that's just what we think Roman people wore, right? I don't know what, I had,
programming.
it's so funny too, because I had a picture of another friend of mine and he had on the Egyptian clothes. And I said, he looked like Mary Magdalene more than anything else. And my friend said, that was 2,000 years ago. Don't nobody know what she looked like. I was like, oh my God. I thought and he was Egyptian. So he just made me feel real silly. He said, don't nobody know what she looked like. Because we just have all these images where we're being told that this is what people look like with their little scarf and thing, and
Well,
we
in
don't.
Mexico, my family, the Catholic, because some of my family are still Catholic and in the church, they worship the Black Virgin Mary on December 10th.
And there were lots of them, but they keep painting them gold.
Yeah, but you know what? That also could be Goddess Kali. You know?
Yeah. I'll just say this before I sit and try to tell you a summary of any of these pictures of what I'm seeing. My thing was that I just felt like it's a lot. So anyway, I just felt like you don't want to really repeat any stories or try to explain things because a lot of it is not true. And they're going to tell you, just like this thing where the lady was showing this to us and she was like, oh, these are sperm. And it's like, okay, but why is it so, the sperm was so big. It was in the man's hand like this. This is a light bulb. I'm not going to say that that's a sperm. That's not a sperm. And so what I decided was that, well, I was actually invited back to the Hathor Temple to actually study, to learn from an archaeologist the explanation versus the tour guides. Because you'll see when you're in there, you got a tour guide, that person got, and they're like, this person's saying one thing, that person's saying another. So they don't really talk too loud because they got their own explanations. But then I would tell you the most interesting thing that I noticed. You're walking next to a building or you're going next to a building this could be McDonald's and the next building is rubble. Or people who are like, I'm like, why are people throwing perfectly good water out on the street? And they're like, oh, to get the dust down. And it was more of how things looked, that things looked destroyed. I was going past apartment buildings and I would see the whole building, right? Like, say this 13-story building. And then I see every apartment going up, the front wall removed and the floor knocked down. And I was like, what is this? Or you see these big holes that look like a cannon went through the building. And I'm like, why aren't we talking about this? And so this is a place where there's been a war going on for so long.
Yeah, the wars
and
the wars that Ashiana Dean talks about real quick, like how they have these ships that they can just annihilate everything and like make it seem like it never existed, but they got interrupted or something, and then that's why.
But this is what I was. Well, true, because when did they build these buildings? Because the apartment buildings there were huge, but then you could see where people were still building up. And so what the explanation was told to me was that during the time when they had to fight along the borders, they were so busy fighting along the borders that the people who wanted to build, like you know how we have a building inspector, we got to get permission. They didn't get permission and they were building up and building out and they didn't have permission. And when things ended on the borders, they just went and knocked people's shit down. Because I was trying to figure out, like, how do you live in this apartment? This apartment's knocked down, but that apartment's still there. How do you still live there? And who's living in the building where all the cannon holes are and stuff like that? So evidently, but I couldn't really get too mad about that, right? Because they do that here. Go ahead and build something and add it onto your house, and they'll knock your shit down here too. So it's like, but part of it, you didn't know whether it was falling down or were they building up. Like I would get on a bridge and there's people on top of the bridge waiting to get on the bus. On top of the bridge, there's traffic everywhere. The 3 lanes was into 5 lanes, and I was just blown away. People sitting on the back of the truck with the feet hanging off, and they're on the interstate. You're just like, wow, this place is crazy. But it was
Mexico, and I grew up like that too in Mexico.
Yeah, it was just really wild, off the chain, and it was beautiful and broken at the same time. It was. But my mom said, you probably don't want to go back there. And I was like, no, actually, I want to stay there as much as I can. Like,
I want to
go. So I am going to go back to learn, and I am going to go back to get the true explanations. And I'm going to go through the doors that weren't open before because I'm going in a different way than I went before. We're not going as a tourist.
When you go to sleep at night, ask your subconscious, or you can remote view yourself. Ask your subconscious, show me the doors that I need to go look at. you know, and then write down all your dreams from here on over there to when you go to Egypt again, and you'll see, you'll guide yourself. Now, when you were saying it's just a whole lot, like it's a whole lot, this card fell, and it was the 5 of chalice.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to read it to you. Okay. It says, you have gone to great lengths to pursue that which you love. I can't see. Hold on. Which you love. And too many things have gone wrong. The 5 of chalice indicates that your passions, your passion have yielded sharp disappointments and regrets. A once beloved thing has, what? I can't see. Sword? Do you cut and run, or do you strengthen your resolve to carry on? So this is kind of like just right now what you're saying. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go back. I'm going to find my truth. I'm not going to listen to
Mhm.
these big school kids on,
Yeah, these mainstream, because then I also too, I was asking even about the president, because I mean, I had seen online in 2020, it looked, some of the stuff we see is somewhat misinformation, or sometimes it's outdated information. And I saw people really angry with the president of Egypt, and they were throwing rocks, and they were upset, and they were saying he was stealing the artifacts, and they were talking about how they were making rolling blackouts so that they could steal the artifacts and sell them to other countries. But then it was just like here, I asked different people, like, how do you feel about the president? And I'm not going to say his name out loud, but how do you feel about the president? And some people were like, he's great. He's building roads. He's making commerce. He's making sure that people come to visit, and making it Egypt great again. But then some people were like, he's a
Babylon.
bastard.
You mean
Yeah,
making
so
Babylon great again?
yeah, it was hard to gauge. So it really, I'm just this type of person, because even when I was in the military, when I was in Germany, I would ask people, so how do you feel about America? How do you feel about our president? How do you feel about your government? How do you feel about these things? Because you really have to go places and don't take people's word for it. Even some of these videos, I see a lot of videos that even as truthers, we might get a hold of a video and think it's true, and it's not. The film has been manipulated if you do any research, And for instance, the Will and Jada, right? The slap, right? So there was a slap, but then there was a movie clip that said, oh, look, this was in a movie. They made it seem as if the movie was from the 70s. The movie was made after the slap. And so upon doing more research, they made it, had us thinking, oh, the Will and Jada thing was from the movie, which I still believe is bullshit, because they're both actors acting like actors act when they act. And screw Will and Jada. That's an open marriage. It's all a bunch of nonsense and goopity gook. And I don't know why people,
Hey, there's a
think,
bunch of entanglements there.
yeah, there's a bunch of entanglements.
Polygamy or whatever.
Right, with him and the Madam of Hollywood and all the men that he goes out with, all this stuff, right? So, but it was just stuff like that hits me when it's like supposed to be a truther type video, and then look what they did. They manipulated the color to make it look like it was a black and white movie, and we're getting set up a lot. I think people want to draw hard conclusions about a lot of things, and people have to really take a step back and understand that you really don't know shit about shit. You know what I mean? But the thing that you know is yourself and your heart. And that's like the only thing that you can control, because, there's things that you believe that maybe I don't believe. But I know Veronica is doing her best because she believes that she's doing the right thing. So let me step back and not try to judge her harshly, because her truth is going to be based on her life, on her perception, on her
My
feelings,
experiences with
and
these
her
motherfuckers
experiences.
in person.
Exactly. But here it is, Veronica. Me and you might be in a situation where me and you are together, but I'm like, Veronica's wrong because she did, and you're like, Erika's wrong because she did this, and because both of us feel like we've been wronged. But Veronica's not the bad guy. Trust that she's not really the bad guy, and I'm not really the bad guy. Sometimes, sometimes there really is a very bad person from the core that is trying to manipulate and destroy and hurt. But a lot of times what I'm seeing in this community is that I'm not sure why we fighting tarot card readers and Reiki healers. And, I don't understand why we're fighting 70-year-old Reiki healers. To me, I'm like, what is going on? Like I look at things like Knights of
you have a cat.
Yeah, Knights of Terror. I call it Knights of Terror. I don't know why anybody goes in there and they go argue with each other and stuff like that.
He's so beautiful. What's your name?
Archer. Archer is an Egyptian.
No, I get you. It's just, remember, there's always going to be more than 2 or 3 or 4 sides to the story. Like that wannabe God that they have the faces. It's like, spin the face. Which face is it today?
Well, you know what it is? My need for you to be wrong. I need you to be wrong so that I can be right. Because that's the only way we learned is what I have. There can only be one right. There can only be one truth. And it's like, no, actually, there's not more. There's more than one truth. And there's more than one side of right. And I don't have to make Veronica wrong. I can respect her opinion.
And I can respect Miss
Not agree with it, but but she doesn't even have to be wrong. She just can be different.
We are different, Mama.
We are just different.
I want your earrings.
I can make you some of these.
I'll buy some from you, but I want to know, because one time you talked about them online, but I really didn't understand because I was doing other stuff and I wasn't like, I was like, on the phone. Tell me about it. Yes.
Well, I do resin.
Beautiful.
But, as a galactic super center, an ex-star.
Yes, we are stars.
The energy to bring from creator source to the energy of this earrings. And so the frequency is frequency and code created when I make my jewelry. That even secular pastors who don't really know that I read tarot cards, they look at my stuff and they're like, and so I was told, even by like the church ladies, that your jewelry is going to bring people closer to the creator. And so even my mom, she said, you got to get that stuff out there so that it can do its work. And so as I put it out there, it goes and it does its work. Whether it's just resin or resins and crystals, and, I make ankhs.
Oh my God, that one's beautiful.
Yeah, I make these jewelry. Let me see one of my
the azurite necklace again, because in my spirit for the past year, it's been saying that I got to get azurite, which is lapis lazuli, which is a very beautiful rock, mineral, we'll say, in Bisbee, Arizona. And every time I go there, I just feel this presence, this beautiful.
Now, I got this one from Egypt.
Copper. Huh?
I got this from Egypt.
Beautiful.
From the Kemet school with Shahrazad. And these big ones, those were here. I mean, there, and the little ones from here. And then so these fire agates from here. But good night. I had the part so long. I just finished this necklace like 2 days ago because I just couldn't sit down at the table. Now it is that's my what do you call it? That's my only thing is I don't sit at that jewelry table every day because I'll do YouTube and I'll be messing with my son, like trying to get him straight. And then feeding. I feed like 5 cats and 4 raccoons and
tell me about it. I love
3 peacocks, and then I got some possums back there. So I'm like, and then I'm trying to do like great content for, our meditations with Terry and Jonathan.
I like that one about the inner child, and I told people, I said one thing that I promised myself is that I would never abandon my inner child. So whatever my truth is, I'm not going to side with anybody here or there to make my child cry. You know what I mean? Or hate itself. I'm never going to do that. So I'm never going to abandon her ever, ever, ever. I don't care if they say, here's $1 million if you do a YouTube channel and you tell lies. And I'm like, no, it's me. I'm going to take care of me now. Because for years I was taking care of others, and then I was being lied to about this little baby inner child, that she was bad. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Yes.
we are back. You know, they've interrupted us 4 times already.
It makes it all the better, right? It's
Yeah.
even better. It's even
So
better now.
yeah. So you know what? Yes, I'm gonna ask you to real quick. I make my junk journals with all my love, you know, decorate bottles with all my love. I sew everything I touch is with all my love. And I just had deja vu.
Like
Yes.
water for chocolate. You seen that, right?
So please tell everybody.
All her love is in her food. So I know I have tremendous
I
love
do.
energy.
Girl, I tell my kids I'm not cooking when I'm crying. I will not
Oh,
cook, or when I'm mad, because there's been a few times when I was crying and my kids are like, "Mom, I feel sad." I'm like, "Shit, I was crying," you know.
I
Or
don't make jewelry when I'm upset or sick or don't feel good. I don't touch it.
no, mama. And then I have a rule when my kids come over and we'll eat here and I'll cook for them or whatever. No speaking of nothing bad, nothing that gives you anger. If you look at popular American TV, they're always arguing about something when they're talking and the eating. I mean, it's like you don't do that. You're putting
Oh,
smells
you
on your,
create indigestion.
yeah. No, you don't want to do that.
Indigestion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just beautiful what you do, Miss Lady Erica. Can you please share with the public how they can buy your jewelry, how they can say, hey, can you make me something like this, that, or special? Everything is special that you make, obviously, but you know, just how they can get a hold of you and how they can get your thing.
Everything to find me. The First Lady Erika. THE1ST Lady Erika. So even the First Lady Erika.com for the site, the First Lady Erika on Linktree.
What made you come up with
I'm
your name? How did you come up with your name?
so glad you asked. Now, I have been a medical lab technician and a mobile medic since the military, and
Shut up. I was my MO was medic.
really, oh, you were a medic, and I'm a lab tech, yeah. So people like to call you a vampire or a mosquito. I said no, I'm more like a mosquito. Anyway, but what happened was when I got out, I would go to different people's offices, and it'd be like doctor so and so, but the doctor would never do that. The nurse would do that. Or when you go see a pastor, and then the people, well, that's pastor so and so, and everybody gets real funky about the titles. My mom corrected me one time, and I had known this lady since I was like 5 years old, and I didn't call her Pastor Lonnie, and I was like, well, you just know her quite. I was 5. I'm like, Lonnie, just. And I was just being corrected, but I noticed how funky people get about the titles. And I feel like this. I'm the first lady of my home and of my own legacy, and I deserve respect. But that's because I'll carry myself a certain way to deserve respect. But I feel that you are the first lady as well, right? And any man that I meet, I won't say any, but men and women that I meet, prospectively based on how they treat me and how they treat themselves and how they treat their community, I will call them the first lady or the first gentleman, because every one of us deserves respect. None one of us is better than the other. There are no peasants in my kingdom. And that is my spiel about that. That's my mission statement, my mantra. But I just feel like we all need to be respected. And I hear a lot of people too, they'll say stuff too, Veronica, like, oh, I'm just a mom. And you're like, you got like one of the most important jobs on the planet. Like, so, some people get kind of down because they're like, oh, I'm not psychic, or I'm not this, and I'm not a medium. And it's like, yeah, but you're like raising tomorrow's superheroes. So you should be very proud of your station. I had a friend of mine, she cuts hair, and she's a huge empath. And it's like, I only cut hair. I was like, not just that. You're a rock for your mother. You're a pillar for your brother who, different people in your life that are struggling and suffering. And here you are. as someone who stabilizes and supports them, don't think that you haven't saved so many people just because you don't see it or just because they don't lay on a couch and pay you for it. Think about all the conversations that you've had with people. You've been helping people and healing people this whole time. You
Yes,
just
you
don't
said
know
it.
it.
You said it.
Because I know, yeah, I've met so many people that help heal the broken fragments of me. People that said, keep going, you can do it. Oh, that's great. People who sent me encouragement and gave me hugs and did things all from the past, whether they were at Kingdom Hall or the Church of Christ or whether they were a tarot card reader. I'm just telling you, there's people all around you. Don't just discredit people because they're part of this or part of that. That there's special people hidden in all kinds of places. And when we just get to that point where we just really just start loving on each other and stop trying to be better than, or everybody's wrong, or fuck Jesus and screw this, and all these ways where we just want to lash out because of our little hurt and just, get it together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only thing I keep saying when the video game is over and they flip the lights on. A lot of the shit that people are worried about, it's not going to make a bit of difference when the video game is over.
Right. It is a video game, and when the light hits, the roaches scatter, right? So what if your friends were roaches?
You've been hanging out with roaches this whole time. You've been hanging out with roaches.
Girl, when I started speaking of this truth recently, right before I put this video out that I just put up the other day about the secrets, about people, whatever. I had 2 dreams of roaches that they were coming. And one of the roaches, I opened a cabinet and some of them were flying, and then the roaches turned into little tiny dogs, and then they turned into a fairy, and I was holding a fairy in my hand. It was a male fairy about 12 to 15 inches tall in my hand, holding him. He said, "Don't kill me, don't kill us, we're fairies." And he had curly tight gold hair, a pink tutu, and white and red leggings. And the how do you say, the wings, they felt like cardboard but like paper mache. And then the next dream I had was that there was roaches in my hair, and then someone helped me to move, and then that person helped me to get rid of them. And and it's like, that's a lie. Next time I dream of roaches, I will kill them, because it's a lie. They're not fairies, they're not good. Okay. And so what happened is, a month and a half ago, there was an infestation in the building, and in one of the it's an upgraded apartment. They have brand new everything, and now we're having problems. So whatever you do in the astral, it leads through. And so what I did is I closed the fucking portal. I used a big ass crystal, like this huge. I went to the gym show. I'm like, motherfucker, like, I'm gonna close this portal. It's not right. It's not right. When you start speaking your truth, Lady Erika, you're gonna see who your friends really are. And the thing that I always say is, who are you in the dark should be the same who you are in the light. The same person here, baby, should be the same person here. Like, what are you trying to prove, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I know I'm a harsh person, but that's because of my experiences. But I'm also loving. It's just, it's about time that we speak our truth, and we stay aligned with our heart and our inner child. That's what I gotta say. And those elements, the how do you say, I was reading a post in your animal telegram. It was beautiful.
Oh yes, the animals.
Yeah.
Outdoors animals.
Yeah. How when a animal is presented in your dreams, it's like, because there's a shift in the earth, or there's a shift going on. And when I had a dream of a lion protecting me, that's when I got Kiki. She's a gray blue Russian cat. That's
oh my God, you got a blue Russian like that lady at the Isis temple.
Yes, she's my protector. And my daughter had her since she was a baby, so now she's mine. And then I had a dream of a tiger of an orange, black, beautiful tiger. And then I got Honey, the one that I just showed you right now. She was a stray outside for 4 years. I didn't know. And I made her my cat. And then we found a home for her sister, Crystal. And then in 2017, I had a dream of a white wolf that called me mother. And she had little coyotes behind her. And that's when I met Lola, my German Shepherd. She has white everywhere and black. And I took care of her babies and I found homes for all 10 of them. So, you know, in 2017 as well, I had a dream of a white horse coming to me. So it's like it's a spiritual.
That one was a truck. That's you getting a new white truck. I'm just kidding.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm actually wanting a truck. My
Trucks are shaped like horses. I wonder if people realize like the trucks are really shaped like horses.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you say that because I have a board of pictures right before I go to sleep. I'll look and I have a red Toyota Tundra 4x4 truck and I'm standing right beside it because I went to the new car dealership and I said, I'm gonna get me a truck one day. And I stood there and every night I look at it. I look at a new house. It doesn't have to be brand new. I look at you know, a cake that I made myself with like, you know, sunflower. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna marry someone. I'm marrying myself. I'm taking care of myself now.
What if you really wanted, you're gonna put it on out there?
Maybe.
When you get ready.
I'm good being a lone woman.
2 years went by and I haven't been able to make a vision board, and I teach vision board classes, and I'm finally to the point where I'm like, I want, because I really have got, my heart is to the point where it's like, no, I want. And there's some things that I want, and now I can actually put it out there. Because I think sometimes we keep on putting things out there, and the universe is like, okay, have fun, make up your mind. What do you want? You want this? You over here? You over here? You want it, and then you don't. And universe is like, you confused. Call me back later.
Exactly.
But when you get ready,
oh yeah,
take some time. Take some time.
Oh yeah. Right now, what I have so far, because I had a picture of Lucifer, the fine ass man.
Oh, you mean from the show?
I want to.
That's an interesting topic. See, that's so confusing, is it not?
Oh, I know. And I'm like, oh, I want a man that looks like him, and that is, you know. And then I took it off because, you know, I'm like, I don't want no more CIA love bites. I'm done. I'm done being alone right now. So yeah, if it's meant to be, it'll be. But right now, I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about taking care of myself. I had the, you know, the other spine surgery. That's 2 spine surgeries. I gotta have, I don't know how many more surgeries. And it's like, you're right, because they fuck with our bloodline. I'm not supposed to be white. I'm supposed to be like my great grandmother and like my, you know, like my great father. So it's like, but you know, they mess with our skin, and I also tan really dark. I look pretty much.
We don't know what's in the Kool-Aid. We got to figure it out, because I swear to God, like, I met, you know, and I think too, some people don't realize, like, there's some reptilians around here that are not white. They're everywhere. Like, I think people really kind of get stuck on skin color sometimes, even for some of the starseed descriptions and stuff. And it's like, it doesn't really work like that. We're in the middle of a shake and bake right here.
Yeah. Like I have a lot of dreams where I'm from Andromeda and I'm Traveler 1800 from Andromeda. And then it's like, well, I don't want to be stuck with that because I'm a star and I can go anywhere I want after here. I ain't coming back here, let me tell you.
But you might have just been passing through. Did you ever did your galactic star chart? Because we've been so many.
A friend of mine told me he was going to do it 2 years ago, and then he went big on YouTube and forgot about me. So
you can do your report for free now.
Huh?
You can do your report for free.
Yeah, I want to do that.
You do need some explanation, but you know, we can help you explain it. I mean, Julia, she does a good job with the videos and stuff. And
I mean, I know that, you know, I was born on February 26, 71 as a Pisces, and I have a rising Leo, and I have 2 kids that are Leos. I love my Leos.
Oh
wow. So I don't know if it's the moon is Gemini or what the hell. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure me out.
It's galactic star charts. They're a little bit different, but they show you like where your first incarnation most likely was, and where you have karma, and where you where you did well, where you picked up your allies, and where you picked up karma and your strengths. So
Can
I
you
had fun.
give this information out so that people can do their charts with her or with you, or how does that work?
I got mine done with Brandy, and she is our galactic is our galactic astrology. But you can look up Julia Ballet. Let's see, Julia Belize. I'm so crazy. I'll just look it up on Facebook because she's literally on Facebook. Oh, Balaz. So it's Julia, but it's Balaz. And she has a YouTube channel called Galactic Astrology, and it's galacticastrology.com or galacticstarchart.com. So she does it. She has her students out there, and she's still teaching. Definitely. I mean, it would be a cool class to take after I get done doing all the things that I'm doing now. But now my focus is I'm going back there for 1 month. And then in December, I'll be inviting people to come back with me. Like, I'm planning on making that move, girl. I told my son, I was like, you need to figure out where you want to live because mom's about to leave. Because I'm about to be about that life. And so you'll be able to see, like, if you follow me on my link tree over the summer, I'm gonna be blogging the experience over there and showing you some of those doors that we didn't get to go through last time. And we're not gonna go as tourists. We're gonna go as, undercover. So you'll see me like this next time with my with my hair covered up and my little thing. And I'm going.
You know what's funny is I bought myself about a year ago, I was like being targeted. So I bought myself the cover, the whole cover, because I have Persian blood on my dad's side. So I bought,
yeah.
and then the girl, so I'm gonna be going with you.
Yeah, a lot of women are getting rid of the hijab, but
I bought me some hijabs because
I don't mind it. I don't mind it because there's a lot of testosterone over there.
yes.
So it's not like here. There's a lot of testosterone over there. You might want, so sometimes you don't really want that much attention because when men look, they like American woman. They got a lot of I just said they got a lot of testosterone.
I know, girl, when I was 16 going to how old was I? 17? I was going to California to visit my cousin. And there was this man from over there from the Middle East. He invited me to go out to eat, and I went to go out to eat with him. And then he says, "You need to marry me. I'm going to marry you, and I'm going to take you to my land." And I said, "I gotta go. She got to go."
It doesn't take very long. It doesn't take very long. If you do need to do a little bit of vetting, but it doesn't take very long. If we done made eye contact about 3 to 5 times. I mean, I went to somebody's store and the man, when he said to me, I was like, what? He was like, I am very well endowed. I can take care of you. And I can go all night. Do you want to marry me? And I was like, what? Like, okay, I just came to the store. I was looking at a dress.
Girl, the other day I didn't have any makeup on. Is when I had my platinum hair because I don't want to dye my hair no more. If I do, it'll be purple or something.
Get you some aura infused.
Yes. And then so I put my hair up, little.
I could totally see that. Even a little bit of blonde, but a little bit of purple, like a little bit of.
Yeah, I will. I've done it before. And I didn't have any makeup on. And I was in my raggedy ass clothes because I had to, go to, the food city here. It's only like 3 blocks. And I'm like, well, I don't got gas money. I gotta go, walk, whatever. I don't mind, right? And girl, this melanin dominant man came up to me. He was like maybe in his 70s. like, you're beautiful. And can I have your number? I'm like, nope. You can watch me on YouTube.
Yeah. No erectile dysfunction there, right?
Huh?
No erectile dysfunction there, right? Still, is you dropping the blue pill or just going strong, just drinking some Irish moss or
Oh,
something?
girl.
Just
It's
I
yeah,
like testosterone though. I like testosterone. I'm
I
good.
know, me too.
I
My
got a
mom,
short haircut, but I like it.
mm-hmm. My mom, she's 74. She still gets hit on. I'm like, Mom,
Wow.
crazy.
Of course.
So,
Blind, cripple, or crazy. Don't
oh,
matter, right?
I love that song. They say that I'm crazy, but I ain't crazy. One of my favorite songs. It's one of these songs that, I'll send it to you, and it's with Kevin Gates, one of my
Huh.
favorite rappers. I know him, but the song is pretty. It's about like how people think you are and they don't even know you. Like
I,
you're
the
22,
idea.
kind of a thing. Yeah, waking people up. So anyway, do you want to do another show next time?
Yeah. Maybe I hit you up when I'm in Egypt.
Yes. Well,
But
tomorrow.
then we gotta make sure we gotta get you over there. Like we gotta get
I
you.
want to go. I want to go. My
I
friend.
want as many people as possible to go and not to because I see some photos going around with people saying that everything is fake and it's like no, there's people literally standing next to you digging right now, digging this stuff up. They're digging it up. They didn't just put that there last week and dig it up. And then I had some friends, people going over to Alexandria by the ocean, and they're like, look in the ocean, and the stuff is just sitting there like,
I want
I
to
was
go
thinking,
to the
oh, they must have had a,
ocean.
and we could swim in the Mediterranean Sea. That's one thing. I want to take people on a different kind of adventure than I was taking on. I'm not trying to do this mainstream thing that was done. You know, I'm grateful for the trip that I took, and I had a freaking blast. And the opportunities came because what we had some soul recognition of certain people, and I know that's why next time when I go, that I'm gonna get to see what I'm about to see. I'm ready. My mom's like, "Girl, let's go. We
Girl, I
ready."
want to go too, and I want to go swim because I'm a mermaid. I want to go swim. I have many dreams,
Mermaid.
the Red Sea and all that stuff. Um, so do we just like save up, or are you gonna put like this thing to this date so that way we can head out? Oh, and do you need the baby Jabberwocky to go over there?
Even them, they took shots. They had non-reactive, non-DNA shots.
Oh, wow.
They had 12 choices. And I'm gonna tell you, when I was here and certain people in my family got that shot, I got my menstrual cycle like over and over, rashes, all that stuff. When I went over there, I was in shock that they had taken it, but I didn't get sick. Now, but then again, here we are in Egypt where the ley lines are. To prove that the energy is there, one girl dropped her phone on the ground and it had that magnet that you know how you put it in the car. The sand stuck to the phone. So this is iron oxide. This is magnetic ley lines. So I assume that the food that these people are eating is just different from ours.
That's
Because you
one
know
thing.
they are eating halal. They're eating halal meat. You got a whole Muslim country, so the meat is halal.
I want to eat some
It's
of that meat, man. I love meat. What was I gonna say? There's a reason now that you said magnetism, there's a reason why the cats were over there. My friend Power Lady, she says that somebody said that the cats were from another planet that they brought them in. Because I was telling her, why is my German Shepherd so different from cats? I'm used to just cats, and it's like they're so easygoing. They will even my they are very telepathic with me, my cats, even Lola, but they're just really easygoing. They don't want all the attention all the time like dogs do. And I'm like, they're so different. She was saying, yeah, I heard she said that cats were brought in from another planet. And I'm like, so right now when you're saying magnetism, cats, what they do is they see magnetism, and dogs, they see heat. So I'm like,
mm,
magnetism, cats, what's going on over there? Like, what kind of vortices? What is? It's probably a Stargate because a lot of people when we talk about the Gulf War in 91, they gave me the 5-in-1 shot. I don't know if they gave it to you. And it had anthrax, and anthrax mixed
I
with
didn't have to do
Quaaludes
it.
when Saddam Hussein was, because they had sold the anthrax the US had sold it to him, and then later on they were fighting. So then us soldiers, I don't know if you had to take the 5-in-1 shot, they had that to put our neon, our spine, how do you say, brighten up our spine so they can track us. And that's why I'm having problems with the spine too.
Yeah, so they can see you on the infrared and better.
Exactly. So it makes
Yeah.
me wonder what is over there in Afghanistan, Iran. I know that there's a Stargate there.
Giants,
Giants,
stargates,
giants.
all kinds of stuff that people aren't allowed to talk about, right?
Giants are
So
real.
amazing.
And
But
giants supposedly, if you look at that Netflix thing, Once Upon a Time, they said that the giants used to sell beings to humans so that they can have the astral experience. And then, giants would get the humans toys and then they'd eat them.
so
Oh my God. Anyway.
here's the thing about Jack and the Beanstalk. Here's my theory. Like, in the Bible, they built that Tower of Babel, and how they were trying to get up to God, right? Because they wanted a seat in front of God. And it could be God, it could just be the giants. But, they always made it seem like the tree roots went up there and in the clouds, that's where the gods live. And that's kind of how, in mythology, that's kind of how it was, right? When you watch that movie about Clash of the Titans, they're right up there, right? On Mount Olympus. And so I just feel like, all those trees, well, they're going to call them mountains, but they look like trees that have been cut down. That there were these great trees, but because the humans kept trying to go up there, that they chopped them all down like Jack and the Beanstalk. And that they tried to kind of tell you that with that story, but that people think it's not real. And it's like, no, Jack and the Beanstalk is real. Like it just didn't, maybe wasn't like this magic instant bean where the tree grew up there, but no, people would go up there and then the giants had to say, okay, or the gods had to say, let's chop these down. So there's those great trees that they talk about in the Vikings and in different shows that.
Jacob's ladder. What is Jacob's ladder?
What is it? It supposedly is this, right? But
yeah, but
everything is more than one thing.
Yes. It's also tied into, wow, if you climb the 33 steps, you'll be able to see the giants. God. It's
right.
like,
Or is it the chrism oil or whatever? What I don't know.
But
because this is supposed to be Jacob's ladder and the chrism oil rising up.
Yeah, exactly, the Kundalini and all that awakening and all that stuff. And that's why they unfortunately sodomize, these Hollywood stars if they.
Why is everything more than one thing?
Yeah, but I find it very interesting about that you said that about the giants, because I've been wondering about that.
Everything is real.
Yeah. When you say is real, is real.
Wow.
And then I say is real. When people say reality, I say realty. Realty. Real eyes. Real eyes. I see now. This is very important information. I mean, you know a lot. And so tomorrow I'm going to have Power Lady and 2 other ladies that we're going to be talking about. Huh?
Oh, I don't know. I thought my cat jumped out the window. I heard cats screaming outside, and so he's right there trying to get through the window, and I'm like, Lord, okay, he's inside. Got it. No, you don't have to close the window. It's all good. No. You can hear him hollering, I want to go outside. Crazy cats.
How cute. I'll let you go for now, but tomorrow we'll be talking about abilities and just beautiful things like that. I have a few questions that people have asked me, And I was wondering if you want to join us, we'll be on at 3 o'clock, and you got my Zoom meeting, 3 o'clock Arizona time, because you know a lot. And
What is Arizona? What
Tucson,
time you got now?
it's 5:45 p.m.
Okay, so 2 hours difference. So 5. If yours is 3, then it would be 5.
17:45 here, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be okay. So at 5, you said 5 or 5:30?
Tomorrow, it'll be 5, so 17. I'm sorry, it'll be 3, so
Okay, so 5. Okay.
1500, right? So that's 5 o'clock my time here, Arizona. Gosh,
Okay.
this thing has been going on forever. Hazmat release is going on, shelter in place will remain in effect for at least 12 hours. Somebody spilled something here. It's been going on for 2 hours now on my phone. What is that? Lady Erika, you froze.
You froze.